So again, welcome everybody. My name is Jess Sims. I'm the Virginia Field Coordinator with Appalachian Voices. I'm so excited to be here. Hands Across the AT has been a phenomenal event that's been a project going on for 5 years and a lot of work from a lot of groups. A special shout out to Kirk Bowers, who made it happen every year, and everybody working with him. Just a wonderful thing to be a part of. So we're gonna get going. We're gonna start off with some music and then we're gonna go live to Russell and Maury. So here we go. And one technical thing before we get too far, I just want to make sure I've got that sound running through my computer, and I do. So sorry about that, y'all. Let's try that again.
Listen, listen, Mother Earth is crying, and we must listen. Listen, listen, Mother Earth is crying, and we must listen. Destruction, consumption, loving her back is the solution. Destruction, consumption, loving her back is the solution. Listen, listen, Mother Earth is crying, and we must listen. Listen, listen, Mother Earth is crying, and we must listen. Destruction, consumption, loving her back is the solution. Destruction, consumption, loving her back is the solution. Listen, listen, Mother Earth is crying, and we must listen. Listen, listen, Mother Earth is crying, and we must listen. Listen. Listen, love for the earth, love for yourself, love for the earth, love for each other, love for the earth, love for yourself, love for the earth, love for each other. Listen, listen, Mother Earth is crying, and we must listen. Listen, listen, Mother Earth is crying, and we must listen. She's on fire. She's on fire. Listen. Listen.
That was a beautiful, beautiful song, Listen, from the Sun Sing Collective, a project of Artivism. We're really excited to have them be a part of today's programming too. So I'm, again, so happy to be here with all of you, and I'm gonna put it over to our live Hands Across the AT, where the AT is being impacted potentially by the Mountain Valley Pipeline, the ruinous fracked gas pipeline crossing West Virginia and Virginia. So, moving it over to speaker view, and I'll put it to Russell and Maury.
Hello, everyone. We're going to do a quick little sound check here. Maury and I we're trying to keep a safe distance during this health crisis that we're all in. And Maury's got his bullhorn there, and I hope that you'll be able to hear him. Give us a thumbs up in the chat and make sure we can hear everything okay.
Good morning. Hope everybody's well. Can you hear me? I bought this bullhorn so I wouldn't have to wear a mask, and Russell could say about 20 feet away from me. So we're in Pearisburg. Russell is actually standing on the Appalachian Trail where he's doing this, being my film cameraman. We're exactly in front of me for those trail hikers that hike this part of the section of the world. In front of me is Angel's Rest, and you come around the cliffs here in front of me, and you come through this field, and behind me is the Pearisburg Cemetery, and you go across the New River not far from here. Russell will take a shot down that way. Celanese is down that way. Peters Mountain is right outside of that Celanese area down there. So I want to talk a little bit about first I want to say good morning to everybody. I want to thank everybody. We've been holding these Hands Across the Appalachian Trail in 3 locations for the past 5 years. No one said anything with the pandemic. There was no mention of it. And about a month ago, I said to Russell, you think we could do a virtual one down at Pearisburg and get a few people? And he said, yeah, let's go for it. And we asked Jess to join, and it's got to be quite an event. It went from a little event that we was planning to now it actually is across the country. We have viewers today from one coast to the other. We have some excellent videos for you to watch today. You will be surprised, hopefully. A little bit about these signs. The Ohio Valley Climate Action Group has provided these clean climate motor signs. I see the Pearisburg police going by. Look at what we're doing here. Augusta County Line, some of their signs are here. I got a sign from our friends out in the Keystone. They're also fighting this eminent domain that we're all fighting. The handmade signs were made by a friend of ours from Preserve Monroe, Save Monroe, Beth Covington, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. But her signs still go to all the events we can get them to. This sign here was kind of the responsibility of a great pipeline fighter who fought fracking and pipelines long before I started. I don't know if Jess has her picture to put up. April Pearson Keating founded MLPA, Mountain Lake Preservation Alliance, up in the northern West Virginia, and was a founding member of POWHR. And sadly, she lost her battle with cancer, her years-long battle with cancer, last year on the very day that we was having this AT, Hands Across the AT. So a special shout out to all those people and all the many people who have fought this, and some of them are no longer with us. We want to remember those folks. The fight goes on here and across the country for these kinds of projects. Shout out to the ACP people who fought their pipeline, got the ACP canceled, and now have joined us. We love you guys. We're all in this together. As this sign kind of says, it doesn't have North Carolina on it because it was made before that, and North Carolina folks too. I'm just so proud to be here. We'll have more to say later, and I'm going to just turn it over to Russell.
Thank you, Maury. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the siren special effects in the background. I'm just going to move over real quickly before I turn it back over to Jess so that you can see behind me the trail where it leads up to the Paris Cemetery. That's an indicator of some of the cultural resources that the trail passes through in our region. This is obviously a popular spot for folks to park for a day hike or for longer section hikes, overnight hiking. From here, you can reach Angel's Rest, you can reach rice fields, do some overnight camping. You cross over the New River from here, the Peters Mountain Wilderness, down into the Stony Creek area, which is endangered species habitat designated area for the candy darter. So a lot to protect around here. We're focused on the trail today, obviously, because it's so important to so many people, not just in Giles County where I live, but all along the trail. So many communities, trail towns that it passes through. So again, thanks everybody for signing on in this virtual way. It's just been a great way to connect everyone all along the length of the trail. I will turn it back to our excellent MC for some more wonderful content that was all submitted by trail lovers who signed on for this event.
Russell and Maury, thank you so much. Next up is a series of videos that document the AT and the fight against Mountain Valley Pipeline. We're going to kick it off with a video from Desiree Shelley Flores, and then we have two really beautiful pieces that have been put together. So enjoy.
My name is Desiree, and I'm coming to you from Catawba, Virginia. I'm a community organizer with Mothers Out Front. I also consider myself a land and water protector. I began fighting Mountain Valley Pipeline almost 3 years ago after my family and I moved to the Catawba region of Roanoke County, and MVP began a path of destruction through our valley, which is at the heart of one of the most scenic viewpoints of the Appalachian Trail, the Triple Crown. I live not far from the breathtaking vistas of McAfee Knob and Dragon's Tooth, and unfortunately, I also live not far, approximately 9 miles, from where MVP crosses the Catawba Valley. As a result, on a regular basis, I have witnessed the failures of the stormwater and sediment control where the pipeline path went straight up the mountain. Areas that were once a scenic, cool-shaded drive lined by mature trees and forests were clear-cut and occupied by nothing but bare, dry soil. The MVP, where it passes through a private farm and residence not far from Blacksburg, took an almost direct route up a steep mountain slope, creating severe runoff into the Catawba Valley stream and onto our road. The runoff was so severe at times that you could not drive past the construction site without your car becoming completely covered in dirt from the sediment. After heavy rainfalls, the stream still becomes completely brown with no visibility, blocking out sunlight, decreasing oxygen, and damaging aquatic life and water quality. Destruction has been painful to watch. I have always felt a deep connection to the land here. As a member of the Monacan Indian Nation that has historical and cultural ties to this region, I am invested in preserving our cultural resources and historical sites, and most importantly, protecting our ancestors and burial mounds that also reside near the streams impacted by the MVP route. My family moved here in part to raise our children within our ancestral territory, as well as to live within a closer proximity to our tribal community. Returning to Southwest Virginia felt like coming home. It became a way for us to connect to our ancestors and their lifeways. The MVP not only threatens our waters, endangered species, and natural resources, but also our connections to this land and our way of life. Thank you for hearing my story. I will leave you with this last thought regarding the dire need to act on climate and create a just transition. The time is now. Projects like MVP are short-sighted, destructive, and unnecessary. We have less than 10 years to transition to clean energy if we want to have a livable planet. By continuing to invest in the fracking industry, we are setting ourselves up for climate catastrophe and economic failure. We need clean energy jobs, clean air, and clean water now, not later. We need to protect our children from the pollution caused by fracking and methane, and we need to protect our children's grandchildren and the 7th generation from the worst impacts of the climate crisis. Thank you for your time.
The Appalachian Trail. It runs from Georgia to Maine. It is used by through hikers and day hikers, one of the most popular trails in the nation. Where the Appalachian Trail goes through the mountains of Virginia and West Virginia, it has some of the most beautiful view sheds in the country. Hikers are met with beautiful view sheds of mountains, valleys, fields. Wildlife is abundant. Beautiful plants and flowers abound in the spring and summer. And in fall, the trees are ablaze with beautiful colors. In our area here in West Virginia, the Appalachian Trail runs along the top of Peters Mountain. From the trail atop the mountain, you can see for miles into several counties of West Virginia, presenting a spectacular view of these counties. These view sheds are a big part of walking the trail. For those of us who just want to go for a day hike on the trail and take pictures or just stand and enjoy the view, are very concerned that these views are going to be marred by the building of the Mountain Valley Pipeline. The MVP will cross Peters Mountain from West Virginia into Virginia, placing a scar across the mountain which will remain there because nothing can be planted on it. MVP will bore under the Appalachian Trail on Peters Mountain.
Well, here we are on top of, we're on the north base of Peters Mountain, right near where you gain the top. We're on the steep, right at the rock outcroppings, and this is the place where Mountain Valley Pipeline goes. They aren't scheduling to bore under this rock here. And extends in both directions. It's not like they can pick another nearby spot to cross. It's all like this in both directions. But
another concern is our water supply, which comes from aquifers on Peters Mountain in the area of the Mountain Valley Pipeline crossing. The chemicals from the epoxy coating on the pipes could contaminate our water supply. Mountain Valley Pipeline, if allowed, will soon be boring under the Appalachian Trail at this point, and the beautiful view sheds from the Appalachian Trail will be marred forever, and the water from Peters Mountain could possibly become a toxic soup. The beautiful old stately trees and tree canopies will be gone forever, and some have already been cut. The mountains cry in despair, and so do we who love these mountains and the Appalachian Trail.
We got the problem of greed, ignorance, and short-term thinking, which often is displayed by our leaders.
That's right.
Not the leaders of our environment, not the people here, but those who make the rules. So we've got a fight ahead of us. Trail is almost 2,200 miles long. It's the longest footpath in the world. It's also home to thousands of different species of plants and animals, many of whom are endangered. All of us need to put in more than our own fair share of effort. And that's what we need to be walking away from here today willing to do, is to put in all of our effort that we can and then add some more. So that's what I leave for you today, is memories. And that's what I hope that our children and our grandchildren and the youngsters here today have, our memories.
Last year, the AT celebrated 90 years. Now we see where the AT is faced with a threat to its natural beauty and priceless cultural heritage by the ACP and the Mountain Valley Pipeline. These pipelines create large scars on our scenic landscape. It fragments our forests, disrupting the peace and tranquility of these hallowed grounds. This is an unmitigated attack on our forest, our culture, and the Appalachian Trail in the pursuit of short-term gains and economic benefits for corporate stockholders. Just next year, we'll get our first wind farm in the state in Botetourt County. There's another plan for Pulaski County. We're seeing solar farms popping up in different places. Renewable will outpace fossil fuels in fuel generation this year for the first time in the history of this planet.
Watchdog organization Oil Change International has revealed gas industry plans to continue its pipeline rush, with 19 pipelines proposed across the Appalachians. To this end, if amendments to the Jefferson National Forest Management Plan, as proposed in the draft environmental impact statement of the FERC, are accepted, a fossil fuel utility corridor 500 feet wide may be allowed to cut through the national forest. Effective November 4th, 2016, the fossil fuel industry will be acting in defiance of the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, as ratified by the United States.
Don't tell your neighbors and don't tell your friends.
There's a really bad word that we all need to fight against. It begins with F, it's 4 letters, and it ends with the K sound. Burk. Burk. Burk is telling us, burk you, and we cannot let them do that. We've got to fight against them and stop the Mountain Valley Pipeline.
Stand up for what we're gonna believe in. We're gonna shut that pipeline down.
Thank you to Paula Mann with Mountain Media for the first video, to Desiree for the intro video, and to Kirk Bowers for providing the coverage that was part of Hands Across the AT in 2016. It's so amazing to see that so many people are still working in coalition to fight Mountain Valley Pipeline. And I would like to turn it over now to a fellow MVP fighter and protector of our water and environment, Josh Vanna, who is part of the Sunsing Collective and Artivism, who is going to share their beautiful song and video, To the River.
Hey y'all, thanks Jessica. Hope y'all can hear me okay. Thanks to everyone who's organized this event this year, Jessica, Maury, Russell, everybody, Kirk, folks at AV, and those who've done this over the years. I'm glad to be with y'all. I grew up hiking and backpacking the AT in Maryland and West Virginia and Pennsylvania, and I'm so thankful for everyone who puts in the time and energy to protect it in Greater Appalachia. A little bit about Artivism Virginia. We provide a supported connection between artists and activists in the fight for environmental justice, and we've been focused on beating the ACP and MVP. Back in the early spring of 2019, a group of musicians was assembled to write an anthem to fight these pipelines and to use solar power to record this song, a song, all across the path of endangered lands and communities facing ACP and MVP. So a little bit about the video you're about to watch here. It's a song called To the River, and it's a song that I wrote, which started as one for Larry Gibson, mountain keeper of West Virginia, fighting mountaintop removal for years and years, and very just incredible, inspiring person. And so this song is partly for him and partly for y'all and partly for the folks in the trees who are getting in the way of MVP. So I'm going to get this up here and hope you enjoy.
I'll take you to the river, tell you what I see. I see the truth in the water shining back at me. Everything in time since the world began. Feel it breathing in the air, feel it buried in the land. I'll take you to the river, tell you what I hear. I hear the thunder in the distance, I hear the river say a prayer. Here come that company man, here come that big machine, here come the murder of the mountain, here come the in-between. I'll take you to the river, I'll take you to the truth. Every life is water running through you. What are you gonna hold to? What are you gonna do? I'll take you to the river, I'll take you to the truth. Cup on the red, see the river come down. Watch it carve through the country, roll right into town. Everything in time, running through our veins. We got the river running through us. No river runs in vain. I'll take you to the river. I'll take you to the truth. Every life is a water running through you. What are you gonna hold to? What are you gonna do? I'll take it to the river. I'll take it to the truth. I'll take it to the river. I'll take it to the truth. Every life is a water running through you. What are you gonna hold to? What are you gonna do? I'll take it to the river. I'll take it to the truth. I'll take it to the river. I'll take it to the truth. I'll take you to the river. Tell you what I hear. I hear the thunder in the distance. I hear the river say
All right. Well, thanks y'all for having us, and great to see y'all on this call. Thanks to my pals from the Sun Sync Collective, and there's more of that from Artivism coming down the pike. So I'll turn it over back to you, Jess.
Josh, thank you so much for sharing that incredibly powerful anthem. We're about to see a video from someone who is featured in that video as we move now to different parts of the trail. So we're going to see friends coming to us from West Virginia, Georgia, Maine, and North Carolina in our next series of videos.
Hi, I'm Becky Crabtree. I live at the base of Peters Mountain here in beautiful Monroe County, West Virginia. Behind me is Peters Mountain. Along the top uppermost ridge runs the Appalachian Trail, right along the top edge. Up there it runs through Rice's Field, which is an overgrown pasture. It has a very old apple orchard in it and a spring and a magnificent view. It's near Sims Gap. Our kids have grown up on the Appalachian Trail. They've camped in Rice's Field many times, and they've hiked both north and south on it from the time they were able to be carried on their dad's back in a carrier to when they could walk holding our hand and counting the rocks up Angel's Rest. They'd count 1 rock, 2 rock, and there's lots of rocks to count going up Angel's Rest. As young women and adults, they've also hiked the trail. And our youngest was proposed to behind our house up on the Appalachian Trail. Their kids, our grandkids, now hike the Appalachian Trail. It's a wonderful way to restore the balance of nature that we're all missing these days. I'm here today to stand against anything that will destroy the Appalachian Trail, including Mountain Valley Pipeline, who has years of experience of destroying the land in this area for miles around. I also stand against any organization that supports Mountain Valley Pipeline in their destructive ways. Today, on Hands Across the Trail Day, I extend my hand to anyone who supports and protects our national treasure, the beloved Appalachian Trail. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Matthew Pickett, and here we are. We're in northern Georgia at the southernmost tip of the Appalachian Trail. For a lot of people, this is where they begin their journey with the AT, but for me, it's a little bit more personal. You see, I was born in southwestern Virginia, and I was never more than maybe a 15-minute car ride away from a trailhead. My beginning, my first steps on the trail, for a lot of people, would have been the middle. And that's what's so special about this trail, is that it's not just one thing. It's something special to everybody. As a 19, 20, 21-year-old, I needed the AT. It was getting away from the stresses of work and the rest of the world. It was very important in my formative years of my late teens and early 20s, especially in young adulthood, needing that time to reflect and think, but also just be totally away from everything. This trail is special to the East Coast, and it's special to a lot of people for a variety of reasons, and that's why it's worth preserving.
Hi, I'm Rick Douglas, and I'm coming to you from the Maine Highlands, which is the north-central part of Maine. It's also home to Moosehead Lake, one of the largest in New England, and Baxter State Park, all 200,000 acres of it. And behind me, Mount Katahdin, a mile high and the crown jewel of Baxter State Park. Of course, if you know anything about the Appalachian Trail, you know it's the northernmost terminus of the AT. And because it's located smack dab in the middle of Baxter State Park, there are regulations to follow regarding camping, hiking, and access to the trail.
Hello, everybody. Delegate Wendy Gooditis here, representing House District 10 in the Virginia House of Delegates. That crosses Loudoun, Clark, and Frederick counties. We are in Clark County as we speak, and behind me, on the top of that hill, is the Appalachian Trail. And I am here to celebrate the fact that the Atlantic Coast Pipeline is no longer going to cross it 6 million times, which is fantastic. If you've spent any time on the trail, then you have met people from all walks of life, of all ages, of all backgrounds, and all over the United States and from all over the world. It is not only a national but a global treasure. I'm so thankful it was preserved. In my positions in Richmond as Vice Chair of the Agriculture, Chesapeake and Natural Resources Committee, and co-chair of the Virginia Environmental Caucus, I have to say that preserving the Appalachian Trail in this way is worth celebrating. So get out there and take a hike.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. I'm coming to you from outside of Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm walking on the Appalachian Trail this evening, which happens to be my birthday. So I'm very grateful to be out here on this occasion to stand in solidarity with all of you who are fighting to protect this beautiful trail that I know is so special to so many people. The community of Hot Springs really is a trail town, and getting to be here and meet people who have thru-hiked the trail, who are coming and going from so many different areas, is so inspiring. When I get out and hike on the Appalachian Trail, even though I have not thru-hiked it, there's a special connection I feel to those who have walked the path from Maine to Georgia and back. And I'm inspired by their commitment, and I'm inspired by what the trail means to so many people. They become the trail becomes them, and I feel that when I get out on this trail, even though I'm only section hiking, I get to feel that connection to people throughout the region and through the mountains. So I just want to send hands across this Appalachian Trail to all of you across the states that are, especially those fighting against the Mountain Valley Pipeline. We represent Forest Keeper, which is a nonprofit outside of Asheville that works to engage the public in discussion and education around our public lands and wild places so that we can protect them and ensure they're protected for future generations.
I do not want a pipeline crossing the Appalachian Trail. It will affect too many animals and even will affect us, hopefully someday when I want to go hike the Appalachian Trail. It will be a nice, beautiful trail, not filled with loggers and a pipeline under it.
I do not want a pipeline crossing the Appalachian Trail.
Thank you to everybody who brought us such wonderful videos from up and down the trail. We're going to go next to a section that has had a lot of you participate in it, which I'm so appreciative of, which is our photo montage that's been compiled. You're going to hear some music during this by a North Carolina-based musician named Danny Platt. And I'm going to pull those slides up in just a second. They are going to scroll sort of 5 seconds per slide. And when we get to the end of the program, I just want to note I'm going to take it off of the automated thing and pause it for a little bit longer because there's a special section made possible with the help of Linda Majors that is profiling a Mr. Payson Kennedy who has played a really integral role to the Appalachian Trail, and there's a good amount of text with it. So I will give us more time to look at those. But so happy to see everybody sharing things in the chat, and again, glad to be here with you. So bear with me just a second. I'm going to start the slideshow, and then you'll hear the music a little bit after that. Thank you to everybody that submitted pictures. I know we'll have one more image from the photo montage that's going to appear a little later in the program. We're going to move back to some of the videos that we've received to help celebrate the AT, and I'm going to set that up just now. Our next video is going to be from Megan Holleran. And bear with me just a sec. And after that, we're going to cut back to Pearisburg, where we'll hear from Russell and Maury again.
My name is Megan Holleran. I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania. One of the reasons I love the Appalachian Trail is I think it's one of those rare spaces that both gives an opportunity for solitude and isolation, but also creates this vast sense of community. I travel a lot for work. I'm often pretty far from home, but whenever I'm close to the trail, it's amazing to be able to just to step onto it and immediately feel something familiar. Even though I might be miles, hundreds of miles from home, and the trees might be different and the landscape isn't quite the same, there's something that connects me to Pennsylvania, no matter where I am on the trail. If I just keep walking long enough, eventually I would get home. And I think that there's something amazing about knowing that there are hundreds of people from Maine to Georgia doing the same thing, all enjoying that space and that solitude maybe, or maybe the companionship of someone else who's out there with you for a hike. And just knowing that we're all connected by this same unbroken and uninterrupted path that you could hike for days or weeks or months and still not come to the end to. And I think that's really incredible. And something about that uninterrupted nature of it is so important. Every time it is broken by something like a pipeline or a power line or a roadway, it intrudes upon that sense of continuity, and it kind of intrudes into that sense of community and brings you out of that mindset of knowing that you've stepped into sort of a different world and been able to detach from what was going on around you and the world that we normally live in. The trail provides kind of a refuge from that and a place to experience some of that true solitude and that true connection to just an empty, undeveloped space of nature. And I think that that's something that's really important to protect, and that community is really worth preserving, and something we really need to fight for.
Thank you to Megan for that video and for sharing her experience with the Appalachian Trail. I want to put it back over now to Russell and Maury, who are coming to us live from Pearisburg. So Russell and Maury, take it away.
Welcome back to the trailhead down here in Pearisburg near the Paris Cemetery. That's the first time for me seeing most of that slideshow, the photo montage, some of the videos. Just incredible what people have done from wherever they are to participate in this event and to highlight the wonderful things that you care about along the trail, your favorite places, the places that we're working so hard to protect, as well as the history of this event over 5 years. To see some of those group photos, it's very, very moving, especially right now. We're in this health crisis. We can't gather together in groups the way that we would like to, but there's so much that we can do individually and in small groups from wherever we are. And everyone who sent those in really underscores that in a big way. I want to talk a little bit about that very quickly and let folks know that there are next steps that you can take from right where you are, including participating in an open comment period right now on a draft environmental impact statement with the United States Forest Service that is open until November 9th. We'll have some resources to share on that and some action items and links. We'll ask you to share those things. We'll ask you to get involved with your local trail clubs, get involved with the grassroots groups that help to put this event together. I know Maury's got a few more things he'd like to say, so I'm gonna flip my camera around real quick and we'll come back. All right.
Yes, there's been a little bit of costume change, but I forgot something. Now I'm ready. Now I'm ready. Some of the people on here will know the significance of all this. We didn't have many water flags. We usually have a lot. Thank you, Mara. This is comes known as the West Virginia water flag. Most of the stuff decorating this flag was things I found while doing some pipeline monitoring. Of course, we have our pipeline fighter shirt. This is a water flag shirt that Mara gave me for my birthday last year, and I haven't had any times to wear it, so thank you, Mara. I want to reiterate some things that Russell said. A number of people that submitted videos spent hours and hours doing it. Some of them drove great distances to get the pictures that appeared in their videos and on the, I want to say a special shout out because some of you may not know who Megan Holleran is. Megan Holleran is the daughter of the family whose maple trees were cut in Pennsylvania. And Megan is actually in the middle, is on the western United States. And she said she'd do this. She would be honored to do this. And then she got called out to fight a wildfire for about 10 days. And we got her video late last night, and it's like all the others, it's truly awesome. I talked to Megan last night and said, they're replanting trees up there. I said, let us know next spring and we'll come help replant trees there. And then next fall, you all can come and help replant trees on the MVP and the ACP line that's been desecrated by these two pipelines. So it just overwhelms me of the people that jumped in to do this and make it such a great success. Jess, I sent her a note last night and said, thanks for helping break my harebrained idea come to life much better than I ever thought it would ever do. Russell, for being my cameraman today and getting in good trouble with me a lot. There's one more thing. Some of you know that for 6 years we've been fighting back to back with the ATC Conservancy on this particular desecration of the trail up here on Peters Mountain and across this part of the state of Virginia. Sadly, on August 17th, we got word that they had been secretly negotiating with MVP, and they've come up with an agreement. I've been told by some trusted friends that the agreement's all not that bad. And I'm going to say, I certainly hope it's not. But they refused to let us see it. And I think if it's not that bad, we should be able to see it. So with that, I've written, other people have too, have written letters, asked the ATC to release the agreement so we can see it. It sets a precedent, not just for this trail, but every trail and special place across the country. So there's a petition, and I won't say much more about that. There's a petition that you can sign. We'll end on November 15th. I think Jesse will put up the link to that. Please sign that petition. Appalachian Trail members, please do not cancel your membership. Your membership is important. When you send in your membership card this year, write a note on it. Release the stewardship agreement. We need all the trail members to join with us as we push to get this agreement. Now, we have fun as pipeline fighters. As you can see, we fight hard and we play hard. We've had a tradition here in, I'm going to drop this flag. We've had a tradition here in Pearisburg to have cake. Well, there's not much use to have a big cake with just me and Russell here. We've had a wonderful food line up the road here has done a wonderful job making us some terrific cakes. This year, I haven't opened them yet, but I picked up 6 cupcakes. So go get yourself a cupcake or a donut or something and have a little bit of joy. And there's where me and Russell will be eating cupcakes when we sign off here. I want to thank everybody. It just does, there are no words. And I'm out. But take it away, Russell.
Thank you, Maury. Thanks always bringing the cakes every year, bringing the cupcakes every year. I'm just going to move back over here to the trailhead while we finish up a couple more announcements so that you can see that. I may check out here from the virtual meeting and head on up there when I'm done. I did want to put one more call to action out there. We are actively looking for volunteers to participate in the Mountain Valley Watch program. You can do things from where you are. You can also get out into the field and help us actively look at construction and report violations. We'll drop those links into the chat. That will let us find a way to contact you, understand what your interests are and where you are along the route, where you are along the trail, different ways that you can plug in there. So I'm gonna turn it back over to Jess and say thank you. I'll leave you with this glorious shot of Maury eating a cupcake at the trailhead out here in Pearisburg. Thank you so much to everyone involved.
Russell and Maury, thank you. Those cupcakes look delicious. And thanks for mentioning some of the next steps people can take to protect the AT. I'm going to share just a couple more slides before we close out the event. And thanks for this great picture from Elle at CCAN. Russell mentioned there is an open comment period right now for the U.S. Forest Service through November 9th. They are asking to make 11 proposed amendments or changes to their standards to allow Mountain Valley Pipeline to cross Jefferson National Forest. So keep an eye on the chat and we'll follow up too with an email, but you can submit a comment individually. You can also sign on to petitions from organizations like Appalachian Voices, the Sierra Club, and Chesapeake Climate Action Network. Excuse me. Additionally, another way to help the AT, if you've never done it before, and I'm sure there's some people on the call today that are part of trail clubs that help maintain and keep the trail looking its best and feeling its best and keeping an eye on what's going on. So there's 31 affiliated clubs in New England, Mid-Atlantic, Virginia, and Southern region. Those are the regions they're split into. And Virginia has many, many, many. You can see some of them here on this map: the Natural Bridge Appalachian Trail Club, Roanoke Appalachian Trail Club. So highly suggest getting involved in that way if you want some hands-on time. You can see the website there through the ATC, appalachiantrail.org/get involved/volunteer/clubs-partners. And it's come up many times today, keeping the Appalachian Trail in your mind, also in terms of the impacts from climate change and how we can mitigate the climate crisis. We've talked today about the need for a just transition to clean, renewable energy and all of the things that come with that we all need: clean air, clean water, healthy communities, and that idea that we are in this together, and whether we're neighbors very close or you're a state away, we all impact each other and should be looking out for each other. Russell mentioned that Mountain Valley Watch is looking for volunteers, so mark your calendar. Next Sunday, November 1st at 3 p.m. is a training. You can go to bit.ly/joinmvwatch, and we'll have those links in the chat too. So this is a great way to be a part of keeping an eye on what's happening with Mountain Valley Pipeline and being part of a great organization. I want to say a special thank you to all the people that helped make this virtual event happen, many of whom are listed here on this text-heavy slide, but it was just really fun to get a chance to make this a virtual event this year. So thanks again for everyone that submitted the incredible videos that we saw today, for the beautiful music from Artivism and from Danny Platt, and for the team that helped work on this: Maury, Russell, Kirk, Stacy, Natalie, Susan, Lynn, Norbert, Christiane, and Josh. So thank you so much. We have reached the end of our program, but I wanted to give folks the chance as we're closing out today's event, one, a big thank you to all of you for being here. And two, I appreciate you've been putting stuff in the chat, but if there's anybody that wants to unmute and shout out their favorite place on the AT, the next couple of minutes are the time for that.
I want to say thank you, Jessica and Russell and everyone who contributed to this program. Wonderful program. Thank y'all.
Thanks everyone.
Awesome job, everybody.
I'll give a special shout out to Kelly Knob. I'm very blessed to be able to look out my kitchen window every morning and watch the sun come up over Kelly Knob. Very popular day hike for Virginia Tech students. Just 50 miles of trails in Giles County. Love every inch of it.
Well, thanks everybody. I hope you can hit the trail sometime soon and stay connected with the groups that you've heard from today, like POWHR, Protect Our Water Heritage and Rights, at Voices, Sierra Club. Thanks to everybody. So great to join hands with you virtually this year. So take care.
Thanks, y'all.